So we're not all meant to be entrepreneurs, which is fine. Like if you love the 9 to 5, I never will knock the 9 to 5 of the corporate world. We need it.
Hi, friends. Welcome to Business Briefs with your host, Girija Bhargav Patel. And with me today, I have Christen James. She is your side hustle coach. I've had the pleasure of being on her podcast, so make sure you tune into that episode as well, which I will link to this episode. But with that being said, welcome to Business Briefs, Christen. I am really eager to hear everything that you have to share with us. But before we start, tell me a little bit about yourself. Actually, start with an elevator pitch.
Okay, so you've already introduced me as a side hustle coach. So essentially, I empower women side hustlers to strategically and confidently quit the 9 to 5.
I love that. And it's really succinct. And I just feel like even the side hustle coach, like the key on that is so succinct as well, because it really identifies exactly what you do. And how did you even find this niche? Is it even a thing? Like, are there a lot of people that are in their 9 to 5s that want to start a full time?
There are, and I believe it is a thing. Side hustles and becoming a side hustler and starting a side hustle has really taken off, especially in these last 3 years when people were home a lot a few years ago. And I've always focused on helping women in that transition. But as I got clearer on my message and my offer, and I realized they were working on a side hustle because they wanted to leave the 9 to 5 to become their own boss, I was just like, why don't I just call myself a side hustle coach? And I just got very specific with my niche, but it works perfectly because there are many, many women who need the support from employee to entrepreneur.
So do you personally have experience in that?
I do. But that's why I was also committed to it, because when I was still at my 9 to 5, I had started side hustles. I wanted to become my own boss, but I didn't have the tools. I didn't have the support. I didn't have the resources. And I ended up staying at my 9 to 5, maybe about 5 years, I like to say longer than I wanted to be.
Oh, wow.
So I ended up ultimately I put it out in the universe, manifested. This is not everybody's story, manifested a layoff. But I know that isn't very many women's, like that was just law of attraction. I was ready to make the move. But now that I am in a position to really support women who want to do what I wanted to do all those years ago, and I now have all the tools and the resources and experience to support them and guide them through the journey, that I can still relate to their experience to help them get to their destination.
You can relate to the experience, but you also have figured it out. And so now you can get the needed support. It's interesting to me, though, you said layoff, like you manifested the layoff, but truly you were kind of pushed into that corner because there was really no other choice. And you had to make that choice. What are we going to do now? And so for those of us that are still stressed or worried, sometimes, yes, universe, God, whatever, it pushes you into that corner to make that decision. But for those of us that are like, okay, well, we don't want that. We don't want to be in that corner yet, but we want to be like maybe 10 steps ahead of that corner. How do you tell that person to make the next move? Like, what is it they need to do in order to make that move happen?
Well, there is definitely a lot of mindset work that goes into it. But one of the things I really, because we have that employee mindset, we know how to be a good employee, and now to shift to being an entrepreneur. But once they've made that decision, and I like to take them through a 3D exit strategy. But one of the things I really stress is leverage your 9 to 5 before you leave. Like treat it like there are so many transferable skills. There's so many things that you're doing at your 9 to 5 right now that you'll need to do in your own business in order for it to be successful. You walk into your 9 to 5 treating it like a business. You want to treat your side hustle like a business. Your communication skills, your leadership skills, even how you navigate difficult conversations and even networking and creating a system, all of that you are acquiring at your 9 to 5. Yeah, I know that most of my clients are just like, they're meh. And it's just like, oh, this pays the bills. I'm just here because, I need the stability. But I'm like, walk in every day with some purpose in your 9 to 5, because the type of employee you are tends to reveal the type of entrepreneur that you will be. So treat your 9 to 5 like a stepping stone into becoming your own boss, and understand what you can take away from it to apply to your own business. So just go in there with some purpose. Go in there knowing I'm not going to be here for the next how many ever years. I'm not going to be here for life. For what can I do? What can I learn? What can I acquire? What skills can I acquire while I'm here? So it helps to accelerate my own departure.
Wow. I think that's like, you packed it up with so much information just now. But something that really stood out to me, what you just said, is that how you work or your work ethic as a employee will determine your work ethic as an entrepreneur. Can you dive a little bit deeper into that and explain what that means?
So there's a difference. Like entrepreneurship, I'm sure you see this. Entrepreneurship a lot of times is glamorized, if we will. And it can seem very easy. It's not at all. Right? So we're not all meant to be entrepreneurs, which is fine. Like if you love the 9 to 5, I never will knock the 9 to 5 of the corporate world. We need it, essentially.
Yeah.
But if you know that you can tap into how you communicate with someone else. This will be how you will communicate with your clients or with other business partners, or when you're collaborating, or your leadership skills when you start to grow a team in your own business. I mentioned navigating difficult conversations because that was something I realized now as an entrepreneur. I was in a managerial position at my 9 to 5, and I realized how much that has helped me now as an entrepreneur, because I understand different people communicate different ways. Some people want to learn, some people don't want to learn, some people want to try, some people want to change. You have to be able to understand the nonverbal cues, and some people want their hands held, some people want to be a little bit more independent. So, and even if you're able to manage your time really well, you're able to meet those deadlines, you're able to work in a team, or do you work better on your own? I know that's always a question you get, even in an interview. Do you work better in a team, or do you work better independently? But all of that comes in handy when you start your own transition or you become your own boss. I remember going from that office setting to now being at home with no one around me, and realizing how much of an adjustment. So how adaptable you are. There can be constant change when you are at your 9 to 5. Some people do not like change. So then you think about growth mindset versus fixed mindset. And then the entrepreneur needs to have a growth mindset, and we need to be adaptable, and we need to be ready. We need to be the one word that was trending for a while. We need to be able to pivot. We need to be able to pivot. So paying attention. And then if you realize, there's something that you really want to brush up on, a skill you really want to brush up on, and there's somebody you really admire at your 9 to 5, job shadow with them. Have a conversation with them to ask them, hey, how did you get here? And what kind of relationships did you build? I remember going to different types of events that the company was hosting. I would go there. I was brushing up on my networking skills. I was building relationships. So all of these can turn into stepping stones to being your own boss. But if you aren't eager to tap into that, you aren't eager to learn, how are you going to be a successful entrepreneur where everything is on you? You're not going to have that team. You're not going to, of course, you're going to build a team. You're going to build your network, but everything is on you. So if you can take that initiative, if you can take responsibility, or how to honor boundaries. Sometimes in our jobs, a lot of can be piled onto us. If we don't know how to say no, how are we going to be able to say no to our clients? How are we going to be able to say no and be able to really tap into what our teams need when we start to grow our own business? So pay attention to that, because I really believe that how you show up as an employee is how you will show up as an entrepreneur. Some employees want to be entrepreneurs. They're not necessarily meant to be, but I think as long as you at least try to tap into it, you still would learn so much about yourself.
Gosh, so true, because there's so many skill sets, hard and soft, that you learn in 9 to 5. And I like how you also said it's not meant for everybody, but at least try it. Try if you have a passion and you're like, I've been doing it and working on it. And so try to at least take that step. Now, something you said earlier also, which is so true, and I hear this a lot as well, is that, well, we have security, job security, which is true. You know that the paycheck's coming in, so you have financial security also.
Mhm.
What are some steps that a person that is wanting to make the shift, what are some steps that they could take with regards to confirming financial security prior to making that shift into their, side hustle as a full time?
Once you have made a decision that you want to leave, and it's also getting very comfortable with looking at your numbers.
Mm-hmm.
We tend to avoid it a lot. We know we're getting paid, we know what's coming out, we know what dates everything's coming out, but get familiar with the numbers, get familiar with how you're managing your expenses or any type of debt. You know how much your income is. It helps you to learn revenue and profit. But one of the things I like to take my clients through in the 3D exit strategy and with leveraging is saying, now that you know you want to leave, you want to be able to supplement this income that you will be walking away from.
Mm-hmm.
So understanding your numbers as well and creating an income goal and really setting tangible goals. Be realistic with your numbers, managing your expectations, but also knowing that you do have the capacity to generate leads and to earn the income that you want to be able to in order to leave your 9 to 5 behind. The very beginning of it is really looking at why you want to even leave, talking about the mindset piece.
Yeah.
Why do you want to leave your 9 to 5? Why do you want to be your own boss? People will always say to me, oh, well, I want to be in control of my time. Boom. Yeah, I want to be able to go to the grocery on a Tuesday morning at 10 o'clock. Right? So the little things like that. So you say you want financial freedom or you want time freedom, really look at what that means for you. If it's financial freedom, how would your life look if you were to get this financial freedom? What does financial freedom even mean to you? Because you are generating an income, you are putting in and getting something out of it at your 9 to 5.
Mm-hmm.
So what does freedom even mean to you? And
Right.
being able to envision the long-term goal of what your life and your business can look at. And you look at your skills, you look at what you want to do in your business, realistically, again, use that word a lot, realistically, how much you can actually do right now to start to generate an income. And then once you generate an income, how you can start to generate a consistent income. And then once you start to generate a consistent income, you look again, looking at your numbers to see, okay, how much more can I take on so that I can earn a little bit more in my business? But at the same time, you're still at your 9 to 5. You can create a savings account there.
Yeah.
Right. That rainy day, because something's gonna come up.
Yeah.
Our business is gonna take off and then things are gonna plateau. So at least now you know that you are putting away for a rainy day, also while learning how to be able to generate a consistent income, being realistic with your numbers. You got to be able to look at your numbers. We don't like it, but we have to be able to look at our numbers.
So is there a number or a percentage you would suggest having like as a baseline prior to making that shift?
It depends on the situation. It depends on the person, the type of business too. But if they really feel like what they've earned in their business, they can see a year out and it already they're starting to generate that consistent income and they can envision, because we talk a lot about like your business vision and your mission as well. So where do you see a business in a year or in 5 years? So if they see that, they can envision something a year out and they're already starting to create a system where things are becoming very consistent, then it could be time for you to make the decision to, okay, I'm going to hand in my resignation.
Yeah.
Some people would want to say that they want to be able to completely replace the income that they're walking away from. But it's, again, going back to your numbers and knowing what you need to be able to earn monthly, and then being able to earn a profit on top of that. You have your revenue and then you also have your profit on top of that. And if you know you're earning a profit just from your side hustle, but you're still able to put away while you're at your 9 to 5, then you can realistically start to plan to actually hand in that 2 week or however long notice at your 5 as well.
Okay, that's some great tips. So say I've handed in my resignation. Now what? What do I do now? What's my next step in life?
It's like you're signing up.
I'm done. I'm free. Now what do I do?
That's when the work really begins. And I know that people ask me that and I'm like I abandoned you. Okay, you've handed in your resignation. Peace out. Right?
Yeah.
That's when we're ready for like that, ready to everything in my branding is about shining. So it's a to shine program. So, and it's interesting because a few women actually don't hire me until they've actually left the 9 to 5 because they feel like they don't need a coach until they become a full-time entrepreneur. And I'm trying to, to change that narrative a
Yeah.
little. But once you actually do leave the 9 to 5 and you do have the money saved up for a rainy day, you have full control of your time. This is where it comes in handy again, being at the 9 to 5, being able to set your own schedule, learning how to work in your business, or the difference between working in your business and working on your business as well. And the difference I like to say, working on a business is like looking at what's going on, like what do you need to do, where do you need to apply yourself, and inspiration and your marketing, whatever you need to do. And then working in your business is what's coming in, what's your income. So knowing how to allocate the time in order to be able to do both of them, because yes, you want to be creative, you want to be able to tap into your creativity, but we still do, of course, want to generate a consistent income. But even on the days or weeks or months where your business isn't quite generating the income that you'd like, sometimes it completely stops. I have been there.
Yeah.
Whereas the early days, it's like, okay,
that happens. That's a thing.
It absolutely happens. It used to have the money that you saved up for a rainy day to kind of keep you going, to help you with your confidence, with being able to support yourself as you continue with your business. But the work really, really begins. I tell people all the time, the journey sucks. You're going to doubt yourself. You're going to want to quit. You're going to be like, should I just go back to my 9 to 5? That's all completely normal. But I think the important thing is knowing whether you're not a entrepreneur, or like the term I like to say I coined, this is mentrepreneur, is knowing that there are going to be challenges, there are going to be obstacles. It's an absolute roller coaster. But at the end of the day, if you can tap into why you started, what you want to get out of it, how badly do I want this to work? And when you can really answer that question, you will absolutely find a way for things to work. And having the support, find your people is one of the things I would tell people once they actually do leave full time. Find your people. I feel like you're not meant to run a business on your own. I could not have done it on my own. I've always had a coach, which is why I'm such an advocate for coaching. Yes, I am a coach, but I know the benefit of having someone to hold space for you, to support you, to validate your feelings. So once you do actually leave, first of all, get a coach, invest in a coach, and then understand the return on investment that you can get once you generate the income. So you're investing in the coach now, but you'll be able to pay for the coach later on as well. It's a mindset shift. A lot of it is mindset work once you do, which is why I really stress to my clients, like, you don't have to leave now. Like, if it's going to take you another year to leave, that's fine. As long as you know you're leaving, let's work towards that. And let's get you there. In that time, I'll help you to build your confidence. So you actually can.
I think it's so key what you're saying, because entrepreneurship can feel very lonely at times, especially if you don't have a existing network or, friends or family that you have been leaning into for a while. And so I have two questions, actually. One is that, I don't know about you, and I don't know what you did in your 9 to 5, but say it's not even related to what you are, currently doing, or even a degree that you might have. And now you're starting a side hustle that's not at all the same as a 9 to 5. So how would you tell that person that it's okay, you're going to be fine? And then, kind of piggybacking on what you were saying about coaching, it's about your network, but it's also your mentors. You might have mentors at work that you can still carry on to your non-working space as well.
Right.
Or getting into organizations where there are other women or men or entrepreneurs in general, or business owners, small business owners, or people in your industry, where you can make those connections and get the encouragement or ideas as well. So there's many different resources.
Exactly.
But with that being said, what if your side hustle has nothing to do with your 9 to 5?
I love that. I feel like, first of all, the fact that they actually do want to tap into something, it means that there is some kind of passion there. The other thing, when people are starting a side hustle, I like to ask them, figure out what you want from the side hustle. Is it just going to be generating extra income? Is another stream of income? Or do you want to turn this into a thriving business? And if you want to turn it into a thriving business, just like you said, there are the resources and the mentors that you can get to learn what you need to learn in that time, or even while you're still at your 9 to 5, whatever types of courses that you can take, and maybe, hey, on their dime, whatever types of courses you can take in order to build your confidence, to build your knowledge and your skills, to be able to learn what you need to learn. You don't have to learn everything on your own. So if there is a course, if there is a program, take it, apply it. Again, look at it as an investment and understanding the ROI on that as well. But I love when people complete, because of course, you have the clients that there's alignment between the 9 to 5 and their side hustle. They love what they do in a 9 to 5, but they want a little bit more freedom to be able to do it their way in their side hustle. But when you're going in a completely opposite direction, you can absolutely know that there'll be a learning curve, but as long as you have the willingness to learn, to try, I don't like to use the word fail. You try and learn, you apply, you see what works, what doesn't work, you reapply, you reevaluate, you reflect, see where when you look at your goals, make sure they're tangible goals, there's numbers applied to those goals, you're giving yourself a realistic amount of time in order to accomplish or to complete a goal, then you can do it. But there's tools and resources. Some people like to go to YouTube University, if you will, but there are actual courses out there, or mentors, or you might find someone on Instagram or whatever platform that you follow that are doing that you want to do. But then in those cases, remembering they're sharing a very small percentage of their lives and they're highlighting their success, but they were once where you are right now. Don't compare your chapter 1 to this person's chapter 10. Find inspiration in what they're doing, learn from what they are willing to share, but be ready to do your own amount of legwork in order to get the results that you want to for yourself, your side hustle, and your business.
Golden wisdom right there. I completely, I mean, it's true though, and we will see a dime a dozen coaches now saying, I'm helping people get their 6 figures and this and that. And first of all, that 6-figure conversation that they're having, that could mean so many different things. That does not mean profit. That just means revenue coming in. And even then, there are people who are doing a lot of advertising that is not allowed, or it's, borderline against the law also. Yeah. So you need to do your homework on that. Like, really need to do your research, see if their values and your values are matching up. Because, I mean, there's amazing classes out there, especially if it's in the industry. If there's a big organization that is trusted and well-known, they might even have classes that they teach. I know in the legal world, we have that, but I'm sure in other, medical world, they have that too. But that was like sage advice right there. So thank you so much. You have given so many golden nuggets. I'm like, every time I'm like, oh my gosh, everybody's just gives such golden nuggets. They're amazing.
Awesome.
And if somebody wants to connect with you, how do they connect with you?
They can find me. My website is ChristenNJames.com, CHRISTEN, 2 N's, James.com, or find me on social media. I'm also on LinkedIn. Everything's my name. Look for the purple lipstick.
You're right.
Everywhere you go, I am there wearing purple lipstick. Or what I've experienced is many people want to check me out. They can check out my podcast, The Shining 5 Method for Side Hustlers. Your episode was an absolute hit because everyone wants to learn about AI as well.
Yeah.
When we talk, it's only a 15-minute chat. Like you just mentioned, the coaches, the dime a dozen coaches. I always say it's about you. There's no gimmicks. If I feel like and you feel like there's a fit, then we'll take it from there.
Yeah.
I'm building relationships. I'm not going to try to shove something down your throat.
Yeah.
It's wherever I'll meet you where you are and really make it about you and helping you to see your life outside of your 9 to 5. If you want to get there, I'm here to support you through it.
Yeah. I mean, you have given such amazing advice just in this 25 minute of a conversation.
Awesome.
And, I feel like and such practical advice because you've been through it, you've done it, you've experienced it. So you're also not speaking from a place of the unknown or this idealistic, rosy colored view of what was and what is now. Because truly you've gone through the motions, like you were mentioning earlier, that, don't compare your chapter 1 to someone's chapter 10. Like, so true. But you are familiar with chapter 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and onwards. And so, if somebody is there, it's, I think, so much better to go with somebody as a coach or who can lead them when they've experienced that walk already. That journey is not unfamiliar to you. And that is key right there. So
it really is.
It's been so nice chatting with you. Now, before we head out, though, and we say goodbye, I always love asking this one question.
Okay.
And that is, what is your anchor? What holds you steady?
What holds me steady? I am committed to helping women to challenge the status quo and in building their, as cliche as it sounds, I really just want to see women, especially women of color, to just be able to tap into their creativity, to retell their stories and carve their past. So I am so committed to doing that every single time I have a conversation with a woman, I feel like there's one extra woman that I'm helping. And that really kind of helps me to stay the course. I remember being in that place and getting out of it. I'm still working my way through it. So I want to be able to help as many women as I can to break that mold and to push past that mediocrity and challenge the status quo and take up space. That's what helps. Taking up space.
Yeah. And don't be afraid to take up the space you need to be in.
Exactly.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you so much, Christen. It's been such a joy, speaking to you and also being on your podcast, which I will link to this, and I'll link all of the other links as well. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you for having me. This was great. I can't believe the time went by so quickly.
I know. I'm like, okay, that's great. Again.
Again. Thank you so much. This was good. Thanks for having me.
Awesome.